Good morning to anyone joining us on Zoom. Just give us 1 minute. We'll be broadcasting on Facebook Live as well. Welcome to everyone joining us on Zoom. We're just waiting 1 minute and we'll start streaming live on Facebook and get this office hour started.
Yes, I am. Hi, Steve. Yes, thanks.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and hope everybody out there, received the notice that we sent out a couple of times, and I'm glad you're joining us here today. I also hope that you received my August newsletter. It was full of updates on public safety, and in case you haven't, we're going to put up a link to our newsletter because we get a lot of questions on public safety from our constituents all the time, and it would be really important if you read what our city is doing about things like racing and burglaries and car break-ins. So let's start with an update of what's happening in our city. With the last city council meeting, we are actually approved 2 things to go on the ballot. Now, we were talking about one other thing with changing the mayoral election cycle and extending the mayor's term. That one is not going to be on the election cycle in November this year, but voters will have the opportunity to vote for a card room measure to generate more taxes for the city services for our general fund, and it'll allow card rooms to expand by 30 tables total. So that is going to be one of the measures, and the other measure will be you'll be voting to approve to a new city charter amendment to enhance the powers of the independent police auditor to be able to review all use of force incidents and have greater access to investigated documents, changes made to allow, and there'll also be changes made to allow for redistricting schedule to be adjusted based upon any delays in the census caused by COVID-19. Now that the census comes out every 10 years and we actually redraw our lines according our district lines according to the population growth or not in each district. And so every 10 years, our districts change. We'll still have the same amount of districts, 10 of them, but the lines, the borders will change. And that'll be happening as soon as the charter, the census is completed. And in that same charter change, there's going to be the size and composition of the planning commission. Right now it's 7, it's going to expand to 11, and it's going to be based on the district that people live in and one at-large member. And so some interesting changes that we all approved of on the to put on the ballot the charter changes and the card room tax. I'll also be sending information about upcoming meetings about the changes to the general plan. Now, most people don't understand, this is one of the most important documents the city has. It's the way that we agree to grow our city. And the proposed general plan 2040 task force is trying to allow for higher density housing within existing single family home zone areas. That means single family zone areas could potentially see duplexes, 3plexes, 4plexes. So these are all important discussions to all of you. I'd advise you to get involved in some of these discussions. We'll be sending out invitations to those meetings shortly. Also coming soon are, the city did a study on commercial linkage fees. And what that means is any new company coming to San Jose, they will have to pay to locate here. Basically, a certain amount of dollars per square foot of new space that they are building. Now, these fees would potentially go to low-income housing. But as many of you know, we actually have a lot more, we have a big housing to jobs imbalance. 20% of our population actually leaves San Jose on every weekday to go to other cities to work. And that means that businesses are not located in San Jose, and we've always been trying to attract them. I think this could be a potential problem in our goal to attract new businesses to come to San Jose. Now, businesses actually pay a lot more taxes than do residential taxpayers. And so a lot of other cities are rich because they have lots of businesses in their cities. But San Jose suffers, and we keep raising taxes on our constituents to try to make up for the imbalance that other cities have. So those discussions are going to be coming to council soon. I know it sounds a little complicated, but I urge you to think about these matters because there's going to be some big changes here, and it may discourage companies to locate in San Jose. So in our parks department, we were told that our parks are being used more than ever, and we're seeing a lot of litter and other debris being generated in our parks, and a lot less volunteers to help us clean up. Now, our parks department is doing COVID-safe park cleanups, and we urge you to get involved. In fact, we'd love for you to call Michelle in my office or contact Adopt a Park. Now, at the end of this meeting, we're going to put Michelle Dexter's email address, and we'll also put a link to the Adopt a Park, and you can get involved in COVID-safe cleanups all over our city. But we'd love to have people cleaning up our own district. We have 24 parks in our district, and we need all the help that we can get. Next, I'd like to talk about the District 10 Leadership Coalition. It's working with residents. This is a coalition that we started to help neighborhoods get stronger. And if you're interested in talking with them, please send them an email to d10leadershipcoalition@gmail.com. Now, we're going to put that up shortly. But this group, we meet every other month, and we talk about ways to strengthen neighborhoods. We have important topics that we ask them to weigh in on. Land use issues, a lot of different things that we help, and we get you connected to city services. So please do get involved. Please, we want to strengthen our neighborhoods, and this is just one way to do it. So also, we've heard a lot of complaints about our city's tree policy, and the arborist is now working with a consultant to make changes to that policy, and they want to hear from the public. So my newsletter, which is posted on Nextdoor, will have a link to that survey, and we'll also have a link to our newsletter on this survey, because this newsletter was full of really valuable information, again, like public safety and ways to get involved in the community, and this very important this very important survey on the tree removal and what have you. So we want to hear from you. And now that I've filled you in on the updated things that are happening at our city, I want to go straight to the public. This is what I usually do at Hub's Coffee, and I wish we could be there because they make some great coffee, but we're doing all these things virtually. But I'm going to start going to questions. We've actually already received a few questions, and please, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A prompt here on your Zoom, and if you have Facebook, also put them in the questions areas. And Mal from my office is going to be helping us read some of the questions, and hopefully I can answer them. Amal, are you there?
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. Like the council member said, if you're on Facebook Live, put your questions in the comments. And if you are attending via Zoom, please place your questions in the Q&A. I want to reach out to everyone attending via Zoom, and you can also raise your hand and we can call on you and you can ask your question live as well if you have any questions. So we'll take the first question. This is from Virginia. She asks, please explain the reasoning behind extending the mayor's current term by 2 years.
Well, as I said at the beginning of the meeting, that idea was dropped by the city council, even though we debated it 3 days for a full 3 days. The reasoning behind extending the mayoral election cycle is to get more participation in the mayoral election. A lot of my colleagues thought that if they changed the election cycle from the gubernatorial cycle to the presidential cycle, more people will be voting for mayor and thereby increasing their voice. I didn't necessarily agree with that, but extending the mayor was just a kind of a side product of this idea of changing the election cycle to the gubernatorial cycle, because there would be 2 years of empty mayoral seat. We'd either have to have a special election, which is very costly, or we could just extend the mayor's thing. Now that is what we were debating for weeks and last month. But again, it was actually pulled and it will not be on the ballot. So Virginia, it won't be on your ballot, but we will have other things on the ballot that I did discuss with you. The card room tax and the charter changes will be on the ballot. What's the next question?
Okay, this comes from Judy. She posted on Facebook, but I believe she's also on Nextdoor. And her question, sorry. Her question is about the water bills tripling.
I don't know about your water bill tripling, but it shouldn't be tripling. Maybe you have a leak, but I know that the water district, the San Jose Water Company, actually stopped reading the meters for a while, and so they were guessing at your water bill this summer, and they were guessing according to your use for as of last year. Now, the water company, sorry, I keep saying district. The water company did send out an explanation to all the residents, but then they sent out a real meter reader, I think last month, and then you got the adjusted bill according to the actual usage. Now, you can always call the San Jose Water Company, and you can dispute the bill directly. But that's what they explained to us. My water bill didn't triple, but it did go up last month because we did use more water than we did last summer. But I think that is the explanation that I can give you. And the best way to get the true facts is to call them. They also do water leak evaluations, and I think they get that done for free. And perhaps you have a water leak.
Okay, thank you for that. I hope that answers your question, Judy. The next question comes from an anonymous viewer. When will the homeless camps at 85 and Almaden Expressway be cleaned and people helped with services?
No, I get this a lot. I can tell you, I'm just as upset as all of you. I've actually asked several times to have the encampments cleaned up on Highway 85, whether it's on Almaden Expressway or where Santa Teresa runs into it. And so there's a lot of calls for this. A lot of these, the homeless encampments are on Caltrans property and or Water District property. And we're having trouble getting them to actually clean it up. Now, I've asked our city just to clean it up, and we haven't really gotten permission to do so yet. We also had an executive order by the governor not to remove homeless encampments, so we can't remove any. In some of the areas, we were able to provide some unhoused individuals with dumpsters and a porta potties, and so we've done that in some areas. We've also increased the amount of hotel vouchers dramatically to allow for people who want to get housed to be housed, at least in hotels, and we're doing our best to do more. And some unfortunately don't want to participate in these programs. Now, I would urge you not just to call my office, but I don't want to make excuses. I'd love to go do it myself, to be honest. But it's you know, we have to get on Caltrans property and or water district property. We need permission technically. Please contact your assembly members or your senator. I know in our area we have Senator Bell for our state senator, and we have Osh Kalra and Evan Lowe and Mark Stone. We actually have 3 assembly members. Please contact their offices and ask them to do more to clean up our on-ramps and off-ramps, because they're disgusting, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm about to take matters in my own hands, and I don't know what, I just need somebody to help us with a dumpster, and we just go out there and do it. I'm that frustrated. And if I don't get a response soon, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll ask for some volunteers to come out with me and we'll clean it up together. I'm sorry, but that's the best answer I can give you.
Okay, thank you. The next question, actually first I want to go back to Judy. She made an additional comment about the water situation, that she was not asking just about hers, but that it's a much more widespread issue than just her residence. So perhaps the meter reading is the reason why many people's bills have gone up. And so
yeah, and I can tell you that that's what they told us. They said, don't be surprised if you can get some phone calls, because we haven't read the meter for months, and then we had to adjust water usage to true up the water usage in the 1 month. So that's what they told us. And if you want, we could give you the phone number of the San Jose Water Company, and I encourage anybody who's had issues with them to call them and complain. And maybe they could re-look at your bill and explain why they did what they did. But this is an independent private company that has nothing to do with the city of San Jose. And so, you know, we'd be happy to call on your behalf, but I don't have your bill. If you want to send us your bill, we could send them an email and have them explain. You know, it is in their hands to do so. And that's the explanation they gave us.
Okay. Judy, if you have any more questions or comments, please place them in the comments section. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. The next question comes from Francisco. He sent this in via email. What can the district do to mitigate the problem of car races in Almaden Expressway?
Well, in our last newsletter, I could tell you that I've been adamant. We actually are doing what we can to try to capture them. We have been doing a lot more enforcement on Almaden Expressway than we have in the past, and our police force is growing. You know, it's going to hit 1,150, and we're going to have, you know, 16 speeding enforcement officers instead of 8. And so, you know, we are doing a lot more than we used to, but it's tough to catch them all, you know, so keep reporting them. And we've used everything from helicopters to chase them down. We've given out a lot of citations. Again, in my newsletter, I could, you know, it details how much tickets that we've given out. So if you take a look, we're doing our part, but keep complaining to 311 or 911 if they're right in front of you. It also helps us get an understanding of what time these things are occurring so that we can get better. You know, we can't sit on the expressway the entire day. And so it helps to know what time these things are what time these races are happening, so that we can address those issues more efficiently. So keep complaining, keep putting the complaints on 311 system, and and you could also do it online. It's SJ 311, San Jose 311, and it's a free app that you can use. We also changed 311 and 911. A lot of people used to complain about the hold times. Now we've separated out 311 non-emergency line, and you're able to report a lot of different things, from homeless encampments to cracked sidewalks to, street lights and abandoned cars, all on 311. So, there's a lot more people on it. So please do report, because it helps us understand what time these races are happening, and we can better enforce that way. Who do we have next?
Okay, let's go back to Facebook. We have some comments coming in from Heidi Middleman Weiss. She had said, "Good job, Johnny. I will help." I believe that was about the homeless encampment cleanups. I do just want to add that we did used to have dumpster days, and we've had to take a pause for those events, but we are trying to figure out a way to continue doing the dumpster days and maintain the physical distancing requirements that we need to maintain. So that should be coming soon as well. And then for Judy says, "Thank you, no need to follow up further. I hadn't realized that they're a private company. I thought they were a city service." So that's about the water department.
Yeah, we actually, so the city does have water services, but not in District 10 or District 9 or District 6. It's in District 8 and 2, and so, and a piece of 5, but all the rest is San Jose Water Company, and they're a private company. So.
So that is all the questions that we received ahead of time, and anyone on Facebook and Zoom. So if anyone remaining does have any questions, we can patch you in and you can ask your questions live, or if you're on Facebook and you have any questions. But I believe that is it. Oh, actually, we have one more question that just came in from Rochelle. She says, why not have a special app for racing reports like Waze, so it's more automated?
Well, we just spent the millions of dollars updating our 311 app, and so that we don't have to have a separate app for each individual thing. And so if you download I don't know if I can actually show it because of this. It's called San Jose 311, and no, you can't see it. Okay, but it's it does a lot, but you can also call 311 on this issue. That hope, the hope is that we don't have to have so many different phone numbers and so many different apps to do city services, and that's why we didn't separate it out.
I'm going to try right now to share the 311 page so that viewers can see what you're speaking about.
That'd be great.
So there it is. Do you see that, council member?
Yes, I do. It looks like that's a great. So you just press other issues, and so this is a great site. For example, this site will allow you to know who your the garbage company is, who your recycling company is. You could schedule large item pickups for free. A lot of people don't know that you can schedule, and they'll pick up every week if you want them to, big items, beds, old barbecues, whatever it is, and you could do it right online, and you don't have to wait at all. And so this app is fantastic, and it actually gets results faster. Especially the ones that work the best are the graffiti and the illegal dumping parts of it, and the pothole parts of it, and the street light. Those are the ones that they work like clockwork. Other ones may take a little longer, but they does get the job done. So we're really kind of proud of this. We rolled it out in March, and it's been working pretty darn good. I'd urge all of you to try it. Okay, any more questions from our audience?
Let's take one final look, see if anything has come in through Facebook. No, I think that's it. We have some information being shared by one of our staffers, Queenie. So thank you so much, Queenie, for that. And if anyone has any more questions, you can always email our office at district10@sanjoseca.gov, and I'll hand it back over to you, Councilmember.
Thank you. And again, thank you for all those who joined us here today. And it's a beautiful day. I know that you guys think that I'm at the lake, but I'm not. I'm actually in my yard, and I'm looking forward to going for a walk at the lake. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.